Uh, yes, we know Dr. Oswin since long. I mean, she was with Guide and GEC, so it's a very long and bright career. I think there are very few workers who, totally devote their life to something. And she has done that to the mangroves and excellent trees. I think she'll be getting a lot of blessings for that, because the with the climate change, our coastal areas are becoming so vulnerable, and we need somebody who is like protecting this mangrove that will protect the coastal.
Jain sir, we lost the internet connection from your end.
So we can understand how deep she has gone to the subject. She is also, independent consultant to UNFAO, Asian Development Bank, McDonald, ECOM, NZ, Rambel, and others. So she is giving her expertise to so many organizations. Uh, of course, with Gujarat government, like Gujarat Ecology Commission and Gujarat Institute of Desert Ecology. So everything, her career has been started, I think, with the Gujarat, and that is. Uh, am I audible?
Yes,
So,
sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. Yes.
uh, so more than 2 decades, she has, spent her expertise on disaster risk and climate adaptation, natural resource management, food security, rural development. Totally devoted her life to the indigenous community, to the mangroves and the livelihood, the ecosystem based, like agriculture, agroforestry, fisheries, everything. She has devoted her expertise, her career to those professions, to those aspects of life which are root to the environment, root to our existence. Also, she has got so much international exposure. North Korea, Timor-Leste, New Guinea, Pacific Islands, East Africa, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Malaysia, Sri Lanka. So she has traveled around 21 countries, and that explains her expertise and recognition to her expertise. Uh, she has been involved in like a disaster risk reduction projects in Orissa. Orissa super cyclone that had havoc. Then Gujarat earthquake 2001, tsunami 2004. So when such disaster strike, we understand the importance of her expertise to help out to the local governments, to the managers. She has credited 3 books to. She has written 3 books, and that published by UNFAO on mangrove management. Uh, she has also Myanmar on the reserve forest written a book. Then involved formulating Myanmar national action for agriculture. She has also worked with GFPIF, Integrated Coastal Management, Sustainable Management, Coastal Fisheries and Mangroves. So I think she has also translated several important books in local language, in Tamil, and also her expertise into book of poetry. So I think we are delighted to have with us, and I think it's a good learning experience. Her diverse expertise and experience will be helpful to us to understand her understanding on mangrove ecology and how the conservation can be taken ahead. So I welcome Dr. Oswin. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jitendra. It's so good to see you after a long time. And thank you for the great introduction, and I'm honored. And good evening, everybody, the dignitaries, the distinguished participants, colleagues, and friends. And it's my honor to be with you today And let me first of all thank Gujarat Ecology Society for inviting me and offering me this opportunity. And thank you very much. And it's a privilege to join you in this occasion, commemorating the International Mangrove Day, the conservation of International Mangrove Day. And the theme, let me just, can you just make it bigger? Okay. So the theme for the day is mangroves at the climate biodiversity nexus. Yeah, now it is better. Yeah. Yeah, the theme for the day is mangroves at the climate biodiversity nexus, advancing coastal resilience beyond COP31. It reflects the growing global recognition for mangroves. The phrase beyond COP31 emphasizes that the international commitments should be translated into actions which are functional and productive. So let us now navigate into the session, please. Next. So this century faces, as we all aware, no, the first one. Yeah. This century faces, as you all are aware, three interrelated global crises: one, climate change, biodiversity loss, and vulnerability of coastal communities. As you all know, the global temperature is also increasing from 1.2 to 1.3 to 1.5 degrees centigrade, which is contributing to the intense heat waves, cyclone, and floods and rising sea levels. Next, please. We have lost almost a million species, which has been extinct. Now we have lost around 30 to 35 to 50% of global mangroves during the past 5 decades due to our human interventions, and nearly 40% of the global population lives within the 100 kilometers of the coast, and around 680 million people inhabit the low-lying coastal zones, which is vulnerable to sea level rise, storm surges, and coastal flooding. Next, please. So we know that mangroves provide the ecological ecosystem-based solutions which addresses all these challenges. And unlike many engineered coastal structures, these mangroves continuously adapt, regenerate, and provide multiple ecosystem benefits and services to the environment. And international recognition of mangrove conservation has expanded during the past decades, and it is providing an opportunity for us to protect the mangroves and also to conserve the existing ones and also to improve more. Next, please. So when we look at the highlights of the webinars, we have 5 highlights mentioned in the webinar. Number 1, mangroves as climate and biodiversity solutions. That means why conserve mangroves? And nature-based approaches for coastal resilience. That means how do they protect our coast? And 3, blue carbon and ecosystem restoration means how do they contribute to climate action? And 4, from COP commitments to local actions, and how do global commitments are translated into local implementation? And number 5, global best practices in mangrove conservations, that is what works practically better, and the best practices and also the lesson learned will be discussed today. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. So the number 1 is mangroves as climate and biodiversity solution. That's why do we need to conserve mangroves? So mangroves are the most productive coastal ecosystems, and we have almost 14.8 million hectares around the globe in 123 tropical and subtropical countries and territories. and it covers only around 0.1% of the Earth's land surface. However, it is a critical ecosystem providing different ecosystem services like biodiversity conservation, fisheries protection, blue carbon storage, and livelihood security. Next, please. And globally, we have 70 true mangrove species and from 24 genera and 16 families. And India has 43 true species, and around 60% of the world's true mangrove flora we have in India, and almost approximately 85 mangrove associate species, and we rank second to Indonesia in mangrove diversity, not the acreage. And so this is also a reason we have to conserve mangroves. Next, please. And in India, we have approximately 4,992 kilometers square mangroves distributed around across the 9 coastal states and territories. And in Sundarbans, we have the major share, and Gujarat stands second with the 24% of the country's total mangrove cover. And Gujarat has also recorded the highest increase in mangrove cover due to conservation and restoration efforts with community participation, and also PPP like different CSR activities as well. Next, please. So Gujarat is unique because it has an arid climatic conditions with highest tidal ranges up to 10 to 11 meters in Gulf of Khambat and 6 to 8 meters in Gulf of Kutch. And it supports around 15 true mangrove species, and Avicennia marina being the dominant one. And the major mangroves are distributed in Kutch. And in the picture, you are seeing the wound, that is the camel, the kari wound they call. This wound basically feed on the Abyssinia mangroves and all other salt-tolerant species around, like Sveda, Salvadora, and all those coastal species. And you can also see the flamingos and other migratory birds often utilize the mangrove areas. So it's a reason we need to conserve mangroves. Next, please. So beyond this biodiversity value, it also provides essential ecosystem services, and the root complexes stabilize the shoreline, reduce the wave energy, and up to 60 to 90% it reduces the wave energy and traps sediments and improve water quality, and also provide a nursery ground for fish, shrimp, crabs, and mollusks. And several studies have proved that 80% of the commercially valuable fin and shell fishes spend part of their life in the mangrove area. And there is a saying by McNay 1968 that there is no mangroves, no prawns. So that emphasizes the significance of mangroves in providing the nursery grounds. Next, please. So despite its significance, we have lost around 35 to 50% of the mangroves around the globe due to coastal development, aquaculture expansion, altered hydrology, pollution, and climate change. So the global priority now is concentrated on conserving the mangroves under the Paris Agreement and coming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework and the UN Decade for Ecological Restoration. So it's also a reason that we are supposed to conserve the mangroves. Next, please. So as the climate change is accelerating and the sea level, tropical cyclones, and all are increasing, we are seeking the engineering solutions like seawall, groins, and revetments for local protection. But also, it may also try, but it cannot provide the ecological services like what the mangroves or the natural ecosystems provide. Though no. Make it bigger, please. Can you make it bigger? Can you expand it to the... Yeah. Can you zoom it out, please? Yeah. So So though these coastal engineering solutions like seawalls, groins, and revetments can provide protection, but cannot provide the ecological services what the natural systems provide. So the natural-based solutions work in nature to provide to reduce disaster risk and also provide social and economical benefits. So the middle of the thing with the picture you are seeing is one of the revetment groins, which I was working in Maravante, Udupi, during 2011 till 2016. Next, please. So the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the IUCN, is defining nature-based solutions as actions to protect, sustainably manage, and restore natural or modified ecosystem that effectively address societal changes while benefiting both biodiversity and human well-being. That is what we are concentrating in almost all the sessions which we are going to discuss today. Next, please. Number 2 is nature-based approaches for coastal resilience. How do they protect coast? So mangroves, as you all are aware, mangroves are the living coastal defense systems, which have the aerial root system, which traps sediments and stabilizes the shorelines and reduce coastal erosion, and also promotes land accretion, where mangroves can colonize and have more forest. And scientific studies have proved that 100 meters of healthy mangrove forest can reduce the wave height of 20 to 70%, while the wider belts around 500 to 1,000 meter can dissipate up to 90% of the incoming wave energy. That also depends on the species composition, the forest density, tidal condition, and also the topography. In Tamil Nadu, the mangroves, Pulthupet mangroves are called as Alayati forest. Alayati means the wave, Ati means to suppress. So that means that area, actually the Muthupete area, is year-round prone to cyclones. So these are the forests which were suppressing the velocity of the waves and protecting the inland and the people. So the people have named it rightly as Alayati forest. Next, please. So globally, mangroves are estimated to protect approximately 15 million people every year from coastal flooding. And also it prevents over US dollars 65 billion in flood damage annually. And the sea levels continue to rise, and the value also significantly increases, and particularly the protection of mangroves, the need for protection is also increasing. Next, please. So beyond the protective role of mangrove, it has also demonstrated its protective nature in several occasions, like the Indian Ocean tsunami, in several parts of the India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand, and during the cyclones in the Sundarbans. There are several testimonies and case studies which we have learned that mangroves have protected the people and the land from the wave action. Next, please. And in India, 250 million people live within the 50 kilometer of the coastline, and there are increasing cyclones in the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, which is being actually protected by integrating the mangrove restoration. This integrating mangrove restoration in the coastal resilience planning would support protecting these coastal belts which are prone to cyclones every year. And there are programs such as MISTI and other initiatives by the government of India is also promoting this action to support or combat climate action. Next, please. So Gujarat provides an excellent example for coastal-based coastal protection. For example, recently I had also went for a study with Deiva Foundation, and I could testified so many examples of CSIR-based green belts and combinations of Abyssinia marina, Salvadora persica, and associated halophytes. They have designed several green belts, and successfully it has been established, and I was really happy to see them all. Next, please. So successful nature-based solutions require more than tree planting. Generally, what we think is just planting trees would be sufficient, but it is not that. It actually needs, in case of mangroves, it needs the natural tidal hydrology needs to be restored, and selection of the right species and planting them in right place is important. And conserving the existing mangroves is more important than creating new or restoring the the damaged ones. And engaging the local communities and implementing adaptive management is very, very important. And the continuous monitoring and adaptive management is very important, because in general, the adaptive management, a particular portion is not at all considered in any of the project documents when we implement projects. Because if we are ending up in doing something wrong and we don't have a provision to change or modify according to the system, because the project document says you have to do this way. So you have to be really careful when we are trying to protect the coast and restoring the mangroves. Next, please. So, and one more important thing we need to understand is these nature-based solutions do not replace the engineering structures. Instead, they complement each other. And the healthy mangrove system provides cost-effective, self-sustaining coastal protection, while simultaneously conserving the biodiversity, supporting the livelihood, and enhancing climate resilience. Next, please. So the third one is blue carbon and ecosystem restoration. Here we are going to discuss how do they contribute to climate action, how mangroves going to contribute to the climate action. So climate change is driven basically by the greenhouse gases, especially the carbon dioxide. And the most effective way to combat is to store, remove the carbon dioxide and store under the in the healthy ecosystems. So as we all are aware, the terrestrial forests do the job. And recently we have especially identified the mangroves, seagrasses, and salt marshes are also collectively known as blue carbon ecosystems, which are exceptional in doing the job of capturing and storing the carbon dioxide. Next, please. So blue carbon refers to the carbon captured from the atmosphere and stored in the coastal and marine ecosystems. Among these, mangroves are the most efficient long-term carbon sink. Unlike terrestrial forests, mangroves store carbon 4 to 5 times more than the terrestrial forests, and they store carbon dioxide in the trunk, branches, roots, and deep into the organic sediment, and it stays for hundreds and thousands of years. Next, please. Yeah, so as we said, though it is holding only 0.1% of the Earth's surface, 10 to 15% of the carbon burial is in the coastal ecosystem, and it is 3 to 5 times more than the terrestrial ecosystems, terrestrial forest, and around over 20 billion tons of carbon is stored under mangroves. Next, please. And we should sincerely understand that when we clear or degrade mangroves, this stored carbon is released back into the atmosphere, creating again the greenhouse gases and climate change activities. And the mangrove loss contributes up to 10% of the global emissions from deforestation. So deforestation is having a equally proportional impact on climate change. So protecting the mangroves from deforestation is a key aspect to increase the blue carbon storage in the mangrove ecosystems. Next, please. So recognizing the benefits, several countries have started integrating mangrove conservation into their national policies and things like, especially when I was working in Myanmar, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste, and in several other countries, we have developed an integrated mangrove management plan to conserve and restore mangroves. And especially in all these countries, we were especially planning, not planting, we were advocating ecological mangrove restoration, that is degraded mangroves will be restored, or the areas which is being abandoned due to shrimp farming or agriculture or rice farming were restored by restoring the hydrology, not just mere planting. So that was the main key aspect we have incorporated in most of these integrated management plans in these countries, which I have been working and part of developing the integrated management plan. And this international mechanisms such as Green Climate Fund, Global Environmental Facility, and Blue Carbon Initiatives and voluntary carbon markets are also supporting mangrove restoration through climate finances and in combating greenhouse gases. Next, please. So in India, mangrove restoration has been gained momentum through MISTI and National Coastal Mission. Gujarat has demonstrated how large-scale restoration, community participation, and CSR initiatives can increase mangrove cover while delivering ecological and socio-economic benefits. Though there are a few failures and here and there, those really needs attention anyway. Next, please. So carbon sequestration should never become a sole objective. Nowadays, we most of the projects we are concentrating carbon project, like everywhere blue carbon project. But actually, that shouldn't be the sole objective. The objective should be restoring the mangroves or restoring the ecosystem into its natural or functioning ecosystem, which can automatically store carbon and provide the ecosystem benefits. And actually, the carbon stored should be a co-benefit and not the real goal or the sole objective of the mangrove projects. So next, please. The COP, the Conference of the Parties, under the UN framework, the UNFCCC, serves as the world's largest decision-making platform. 196 parties are members of the UNFCCC, and COP31 represents another important milestone where countries can review their progress, strengthen climate ambitions, and mobilize resources to address climate mitigation, adaptation, biodiversity conservation, and sustainable development. Next, please. So this one is like from the commitments to the local actions. So this COP, the success of the COP31 will not, or should not be measured by a number of declarations adopted, but by how effectively these countries implement the commitments to create the functional ecosystems. The phrase beyond 31, COP31, therefore emphasizes moving towards the, or translating the global commitments to local action and successful productive ecosystem creations, and creating also people's livelihood. Next, please. So for mangroves, this means integrating restoration and conservation into national policies. Here there are NDCs, the NBSCPs, the NAPs, and the ICZM programs all help to support commitments to be translated into local actions. And 150 countries have included NBS solutions to conserve mangroves and also to translate the COP31 initiatives or the instructions into action. Next, please. So implementation requires coordinated action across multiple stakeholders. And here the government has some role in enabling policies and finance mechanisms, and the research institute in guiding or technical guidance, and the communities in participation, restoration, and leadership, and the development agencies and financial institution in financing the project, and also monitoring and adaptive and supporting in adaptive mechanisms, and further supporting in further supporting long term with those countries for a sustainable management of the natural resources. Next, please. So India provides a strong example, like all these initiatives which we have discussed. So in Gujarat, the large scale, I just wanted to show this picture of this the green belt, which has been partnered by CSIR activities with the local NGOs in Kambath, and this actually will be a multiple stakeholder activity, which has been successful model in Gujarat, which can also be scaled up in different locations, whichever is possible, and which is and based on that particular site specifically, we have to plan the green belts and greening of ecosystems. Next, please. So looking beyond COP31, the emphasis should be a shift from reporting hectares. Nowadays, what we generally report is this many number of plants planted or this many hectares achieved. But nobody bothers about what is the status after a couple of years. And the measuring for a long term, the monitoring for long term is lacking in almost like majority of the developmental projects. And effective implementation requires natural hydrology restoration and biodiversity conservation, including strengthening the institutions and mobilizing sustainable financing for the long-term sustenance. And yeah, next, please. So ultimately, the future of the mangrove conservation depends not on international negotiations, but on the collective commitments of the government, scientists, local communities, development partners, and private sector to transform the ambitious policies into resilient coastal landscapes. Here, the COP31 sets the global direction, but the resilient mangrove ecosystems are created through local leadership, community participation, ground science, and long-term commitment. Next, please. So this is the flow chart to understand the beyond COP31 action, like COP31-2 action, like COP31 global agreements. Then it comes down to national policies like NDCs, MBSAPs, NAPs, and IZM, and funding and partners like GEF, CCF, CSR, ESG, and blue carbon initiatives, etc. And the restoration project, healthy mangroves, healthy and functional mangroves, and climate resilience, biodiversity, and livelihoods is the outcome of those projects. Next, please. So the last one is global best practices in mangrove conservation. That is what works in practice. That is the best practices around the globe. So over the past 3 decades, numerous countries have demonstrated successful mangrove conservation is achievable, while each country has adopted approaches based on their own ecosystem, environmental, social, and other conditions. But several initiatives around the globe have proved planting should be the last abode, and ecological mangrove restoration should be the first one. Next, please. So what works best in India? Like in Sundarbans, in India, the Bangladesh is the largest portion of mangroves we have. The mangroves we have, Sundarban area of the Bangla and West Bengal. And here we have to understand the key components or the biodiversity aspects like the tiger, the crocodiles, and the people's livelihood of collecting honey, and several other like siltation, water, the damming of the things which is not allowing the fresh water to flow through the forests, and all those things need to be considered while developing a project which is workable and which is practically which can bring a successful model. So we need to that is actually will be workable if we design such things. Next, please. In Gujarat, it's an arid area, as I have been earlier also telling. The same thing which we have actually demonstrated a lot of things on mangrove planting, and also in developing coastal green belt models along the Gulf of Khambat and Gulf of Kutch. And this particular photograph is from Gulf of Khambat, developed by Sarva and Harit Horticulture Service, Jambusar. And yeah, that actually this works well. So when we wanted to scale it up in Gujarat area, we can go through such areas and decide what species works well. And from this green belts, there is also some of the positive and co-beneficiary things coming up from those planting, or the grasses. In the Sweda plantations which they have made, there are plenty of grasses which the local community is utilizing for a couple of months during the high summer months, and also during the monsoon months. The grasses are plenty, and people from the neighboring villages are coming into these green belts and harvesting those things. And the seeds, the Sweda green belts are providing fodder and also oil seeds, which is really a very big economical viable activity around that mangrove, that green belt area. And such things should be documented and need to be replicated in several areas. That's what I would request the Gujarat organizations around here, please. Next, please. Yeah, this is one of the case study, a couple of case studies from Gujarat, in Indonesia. The Indonesia here, in most, basically it is the biggest biggest country which is have a largest target of achieving 600,000 hectares of degraded mangrove. But here, most of the degraded mangroves, they refer or the abandoned shrimp farms. Though they are abandoned, still they have been categorized as productive zones into the forest sector, and still in operation, not being drained properly. So this planting again and again into that hip deep water, and many a times they don't drain the water to dry the sediment. So those couple of areas it has been successful. In several cases it is a failure because of the stagnant water, and the diseases, the boring insects, algal mats on the degrade in the stagnant waters, and things like that. And also there are some success stories, like the third picture, if you see, they in the high current areas also they are building some small island sort of things, elevated islands, and planting there, and in some areas it has been successful. And in those abandoned shrimp farms also, what they are doing is they are doing some elevated platforms where they do some planting, and those areas seems a good small island things, but rather than that, the major planting inside the waters cannot be considered as a successful technique or a successful strategy for a long-term restoration pattern. That is what is my observation in those areas wherever I have been working, like in Kalimantan, Sumatra, and in Jakarta and all those areas. Next, please. So in the Vietnam case, this actually is a really good initiative. And in Vietnam, the land doesn't belong to it belongs to the government, and only they have the rights to work on, and it has been licensed to the farmers for planting mangroves on the dikes and also doing aquaculture into the water. So they have to have sort of 50-50 mangrove water or 70-30 mangrove water, 60-40 mangrove water, all those things based on the area they are following. But comparatively seems, because for them the major objective is not mangrove, the major objective is production of shrimp from the mangrove. So, and moreover, the country is quite conducive and they have plenty of rainfall and the environment is quite conducive. Even though they are taking or they are harvesting more mangroves, they were able to balance a bit compared to our area. So those people, they think mangrove restoration means planting on dikes. And recently, they have started looking for the areas for planting behind the sea walls. There, behind the sea walls, there is a good possibility of land accretion or sediment accretion and plant colonization. But if it is naturally colonizing, that would practically become a sustainable mangrove forest. But recently, because of plenty of money available for mangroves, everyone has become more greedy and they wanted to plant in the sediment which is not practically settled or matured or like suitable for immediate planting, because it is basically a dynamic system. So still they need to wait for at least 5 to 6 years for those sediments to be matured or strong enough for the mangroves to colonize. But the projects which I'm working nowadays are like forced to plant into that areas, and I really wonder about the success of these recent project activities. But earlier, wherever it has been just left, the long ago, when they have built some sea walls and that area, the sediment which has been the accreted sediment is really colonizing good mangrove belt and basically creating a double protection for those locations. And this particular sea wall actually works really good in that particular Vietnam context. Next, please. So in the Philippines also, basically mangrove restoration means similarly like integrating mangroves into shrimp farming. But here in Indonesia, here in Vietnam, at least they were planting. But here in Philippines, basically, they just try to, from the mangrove area, they dig out some area and they just start doing some fishing and all. Both the things are there. But still, how long it would be long-term sustainable practice, I'm not very sure. But in some areas, wherever the shrimp farms are totally abandoned, unlike the Vietnam area, here it is totally abandoned. So these areas are ecological mangrove restoration technique is being implemented in several areas in the Philippines, which has got successful case studies, which has integrated mangroves through ecological mangrove restoration. But here, the main key thing is that shrimp farms are totally abandoned and no more ownership from the people. It's basically, it belongs to the government, and it is trying to restore the systems back, degraded systems back. That actually is a good initiative of Philippines. Next, please. And in the Indian context, I am actually proud to show this slide. And also, this is a pioneer model of mangrove integrated prawn farm. It is in Perundotam, sorry, not in Perundurai, Perundotam, Sirgali, Tamil Nadu. It is a 30-year-old, fully matured mangroves. In this area, actually, this belt, this coastal belt was abandoned from agriculture. Earlier, it was an agricultural area, and due to sea level rise, the sea started engulfing the land, and most of the agricultural land were carried away by the ocean, and even the patta lands of the agricultural patta lands were also engulfed into the sea. So the saline intrusion was very high, and this particular farmer wanted to use his abandoned agricultural land, and that was a period when aquaculture was booming, and he actually is a responsible farmer, so he created this integrated mangrove prawn farm, because that was the time when I was doing my PhD, and for me one chapter is like impact of mangroves on in aquaculture and aquaculture on mangroves. So for aquaculture on mangroves, I studied in Muthupete forest, and mangroves on aquaculture, I experimented here in this farm. And now you can see a commercially viable mangrove integrated prawn farm since 1995, which is providing all the social, economical, and other benefits. And it is basically the best model which anyone can go and visit. And it is not a model which has been scrapped off and just documented. It is a live system still existing, and it is a commercially viable project. Anyone can go and visit, whomsoever is in the south can see, or if you have a chance to visit, please contact me. I can put them in connection, and you can go and see the thing. And it is also a scalable model, definitely. But you need to really be responsible to do both together. Next, please. And what works in practice? And everyone is aware of fishbone technique. I'm not against fishbone technique. I'm just talking about the importance or significance of monitoring and long-term commitment of mangrove restoration. And also one more key point I wanted to insist is converting a existing ecosystem into another. So these are the key things you need to consider in this particular slide. Earlier, this area, this is from Muthupete Mangrove, Tamil Nadu, where I did my PhD. And this area actually was a very healthy Sweda swamp. The Sweda swamps are more than 7-8 meter tall. It's a very tall Sweda swamp. But during that season, planting mangroves was it's a sort of jargon, and everybody wanted to enter into mangrove planting. So finally, this particular ecosystem, which was a vital habitat for jackals, hares, and ground nesting birds, were converted into fishbone technology by digging a feeder canal, and also 1 meter wide and 1 meter deep long branch canals, like the side canals. But it was done during, I think in 1997, 96, 97, probably they would have done it. And in 2012, when I visited that area, by 12, 15 years, the feeder canal started just totally silted, and almost all the branch canals are filled with silt, and most of the plants which have been documented as a success and been glorified were all dead. And it now, wherever we go and see, the entire system is going back to its original Sveda swamp. So this needs to be really considered, or as long as the project fund is there, people were digging, dredging, and keeping the canals alive. After that, the root system will put its prop roots here, and another will put in the other side, and totally the silt is deposited in all the canals, and this area is now again a Sveda swamp. So everyone need to think, when we are indulging in doing something, you need to think about the entire key things when we are planning. Next, please. So there are several lessons which we have learned from, because if you start talking about so many things and techniques and all those things, it will become a very big thing. So we are just coming into concising things into the small nutshell. And like this, success should be measured by establishing functional mangrove ecosystem. Generally, what we think is, okay, 100,000 hectares achieved, and 10 million plants planted. That is not a success. A success is creating a functional mangrove ecosystem which can provide all its ecosystem services, is the main thing. And the second one is planting should only be undertaken where hydrology, tidal inundation, salinity, sediment condition, and elevation are appropriate. If it is not there, please don't try to plant or convert sand dunes, the mud flats or such seagrasses into mangroves. Restore natural hydrology first, because several times hydrology is a major problem which has been abrupting the growth or the health of the mangroves. So initially, what you have to do before you plan a mangrove restoration project is just go and study the hydrology and restore the hydrology first, and automatically leave it, and nature will take its own turn. All these engineering interventions are not at all necessary, and if at all there is a seed limitation, then you can think about planting. Otherwise, just restore the natural hydrology and leave it to nature, and it will create a sustainable functional ecosystem. And the key thing is understanding the ecological functions before planting. Everyone should understand how the system works. What are the root systems are meant for? What are the prop roots meant for? How the nematophores are meant for? Because when we are dredging something, this dredging silt will go and deposit on the nematophores or on the prop roots, and basically kill the healthy system which is existing in the neighboring areas. So those things also to be considered while thinking about engineering interventions. And we have to also avoid repeated seed collection from the same mangrove stand, because we have a major target of 100 hectares, 200 hectares. And so we ask our villages to go and collect the mangrove seeds. So they will go only to the places where it is accessible, and they'll be going on stripping seeds from the same place, and we will be basically interfering with the natural regeneration in a long run, and neither what we planted succeeds nor the natural regeneration succeeds. So we are basically interfering with the natural regeneration rather than developing a new one, a successful new one. Next, please. So the next one is promoting natural regeneration wherever possible. So the same thing what I said. So we have to allow the natural recovery, like what I was talking about the Vietnam case. So they can still wait for some few more years, and the natural colonization will take place. if at all you wanted to spend some money, probably you can facilitate once the sediment is settled and mature enough to plant. So before that, indulging in planting, like even several times we have also failed in Gujarat, like converting sand mud flats into things like it is mobile, and we will be planting, and the next day it will be carried away by a wave, and we will end up writing a big wave came and carried away our plantation. So all these things happens in during the learning process. But now we have ample evidences and examples and case studies where you need not do the same mistakes again and again. So you can just plan it with the different case studies and learn those things. And so long-term monitoring is very important, and also the ownership and the community ownership should be there for them to protect those mangroves for a long run. And adaptive management. And as I told even in the earlier session, I was telling about the adaptive management, because many a times we don't have a opportunity or a place to change the wordings from the project document. So we end up doing the same mistake and end up getting a failure. So instead, when you see there is this technology is a failure, we just should think about doing the right one rather than wasting our efforts and money into that. So we need to strengthen the institutional strengthening capacity trainings, and all those things are important. And also monitoring for the ecosystem recovery, not just survival, but also the indicators need to be fixed for a long run, and the overall functioning should also be recorded for the future projects or future people to generations to follow. Next, please. So to conclude, the objective of the mangrove restoration is not to plant more trees, but to restore self-sustaining resilient ecosystems that recover their ecological functions and continue to provide benefits long after the project funding has ended, empowering the coastal communities and translating global commitments into lasting local action. This is one of the model from Myanmar, which we demonstrated in 4-hectare area. Actually, this is an abandoned agricultural land because that was a practice in the reserved area of Myanmar. They used to do that, and they just build big bunds and stop the hydrology. And so we chose these areas, and we renewed this hydrology. You can see in this thing, and within 7 to 9 months, we had 16 species of mangroves automatically colonized after one rainfall. So this is another success model I can show through my experience. This is what I just wanted to emphasize. Next one, please. So as the world moves beyond COP31, these experiences demonstrate the mangrove conservation is no longer an environmental option. It's an economical, social, and climate necessity. So combining science, policy, finance, and community stewardship, we should transform degraded coastal lands into resilient ecosystems to benefit the present and the future generations. Next, please. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful presentation, from taking us towards what actually mangrove is, to giving us the international case studies, what works, what are the COPE things, and what are the Indian NDCs, and how India is working, and what exactly is needed into the mangrove ecosystem, and if we want to conserve the mangroves for our future. So that was a wonderful presentation, and of course, the efforts which you have put is truly, truly inspiring. Now I open the platform for question and answers. So anyone who has question and answers, you can unmute your own self and directly ask the questions to Dr. Stanley. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, Neenu. Neenu Purushothaman, you can please go ahead.
session and was very useful. So I wanted to ask, like, if we are community for the mangrove restoration or conservation, whatever. So
I can't get her at all. Her voice is cracking.
Yes, Neenu, can you please
okay.
repeat your voice was cracking?
Yes. Am I audible now? Okay, ma'am, the session was really nice. And so I wanted to know that if we are incorporating community as well for the mangrove conservation programs, how can we do that exactly? Like in what way we can make them also participate?
So, community's participation is a key aspect of any mangrove management if it falls outside the reserve forest zone. If it is under the reserve forest zone, of course, the forest department will take care, but still they need community for helping in or implementing the project, planting and whatever the activities it is there in the project. But if it is in falls outside and the community is been utilizing the mangroves, the dependency is high, like fodder, fuel, fishing, crab collecting, and whatnot. So many things are there. So the dependency of the mangroves is very high in most of the coastal areas. So in that case, actually, we need the community's support to implement anything if they are not benefited. And we also should understand, for example, I could say in the context of Gujarat. So Gujarat, in most of the areas in Kambath and Kutch and all, they are depending for fodder. I'm just taking only about the fodder. I'm telling there are so many things they are dependent on, but I'm talking about the fodder. So they have plenty of the migratory population have plenty of camels, cattle, buffaloes, and whatnot. So here they need plenty of uh, fodder. So we are asking them not to take allow the cattle or camels to graze. Will they support you? No. So in this place, the major problem is not the community support. We have to provide an alternative fodder for them. Then they will be interested in working with you for planting mangroves or conserving mangroves or rotationally allowing their cattle to graze or whatever. So the thing is, the necessity, the need for the people should be met first when if you wanted to get the concern of the community. And moreover, for the long run, they are the custodians of the natural resources in the coast. So you cannot fence it out from them. So unless and otherwise they support, they protect, you cannot protect it sustainably. So it's very important to train them in different aspects or provide them economical benefits or provide them with different business opportunities, provide them with fodder, provide them with fuel, provide them with different aspects which they will be interested in helping, supporting you in your strategy of conserving mangroves or planting or whatever.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Neenu, and thank you, Dr. Stanley. Yes, so ma'am, we have another question. We have question from Kiran. Kiran is telling, Doctor, thank you for the excellent presentation, drawing on your experience across more than 20 countries, which three nations stands out as the best example of successful mangrove restoration. What are the key lessons can other countries learn from? This is question number one. Second question is that how many countries has implemented a mangrove restoration model similar to, if not wrong, it is Udupi's or Udupi's. Have you noticed any distinctive or innovative practice among them that stands out?
The first question is what?
The first question is, ma'am, what are the key lessons can other countries learn from the best three examples which you have put it out for Indonesia, Philippines, and countries. That's what I'm sure Kiran is asking. Kiran, if you can correct me if I'm wrong. The Kiran is asking 20 countries, which three nations stand out as the best out of 20 countries, which three nations stand out as the best example of successful mangrove restoration, and what key lessons can other countries learn from them?
Yeah, actually, there are several countries which has been implementing ecological mangrove restoration and different, and every lesson is different from country to country, site to site, and based on the dependency of mangroves and everything. Based on that only, we will have lessons or the techniques. Here, I do not know how many countries have implemented. There are n number of countries which have implemented restoration practices and failed, succeeded, and so many things. But out of the 26 countries I have been in, the Myanmar, Myanmar is the best country I could say, because we had enough time. The thing is, I cannot just say this is best and the other one is not the good one. Thing is, I had ample time there so that I was able to demonstrate, because though I have started my work in 2008 in one project, but I have been working since 2000 till 2015 in different projects. So I had ample time to monitor and ample time to support in those models. So we were able to succeed. So that is the main thing I could say. Otherwise, I cannot say this is the good country, that is not the good country. But there are different models, even in the developed countries by Robin Lewis and so many other people. They have also succeeded in the States and many other countries. They have succeeded good models of ecological mangrove restoration. That is restoring mangroves from the degraded area, not planting or afforestation. I'm not talking about afforestation. I'm talking about the restoration, that bringing back its from the damaged condition. So that is the thing. What else?
Ma'am, the second question is that how many countries have implemented mangrove restoration models similar to Udupi's? Have you noticed any distinctive or innovative?
Udupi, actually, it is not a mangrove restoration. Udupi is a groin. It's a revetment. It's a seawall revetment. It's a coastal engineering structure. That is actually a sandy beach, and we were all there are also some mangrove area, but not exactly on that beach. But this area is basically much exposed to, vulnerable to the wave action. So that particular groin was built in that Maravande beach, and I was a part of it, working on the mangrove areas, but not exactly on the sandy beach area. But that was one of the component of the project. I've been working in Maravante, Udupi. Udupi is in Karnataka. It's an ADB project. It's an ADB funded project.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure, Kiran,
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, you have further
Thank
things
you,
to
ma'am.
ask.
I have one more question. Yeah. Soniaji, thank you first of all, and Gujarat Ecology Society. Thank you for this session. And ma'am, and you mentioned about your PhD. Can you have your thesis soft copy? Actually, I want to ask.
Let me just, because those days we don't have soft copies. We were only typing and typing, and not even computerized typing was the initial days, those days.
No. You have very
Let me
good
just,
field
I'll
study
try to
experience.
scan it out.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir. And thank you, ma'am. Any further questions? We have a lot of praises for you in our chat box.
Okay,
And yes, ma'am, I would like to ask one question.
please.
First, because it was such a wonderful, inspiring, presentation by you. You talked about COP31, and it was a very powerful line that, the word beyond COP31 itself emphasizes that one need to move from just the policies and the discussions towards a ground level reality, or towards taking the actions on the ground. I want to know where India is standing in this scenario. We have our NDCs. We have so many programs, like even you listed out the Undercamp or Undercampa or Mishti and all those things. But where India see itself because as a global expert, I'm asking you, as in the picture of COP31, how much success rate India is able to generate when it comes to, moving beyond policies and bringing the ground success?
I actually do not wanted to comment on it, and you yourself know that.
All right, if that, but still, we would for
Yeah,
us,
because
yeah.
what I'm trying to say is, we actually should take away from the brain that only planting, planting, planting. Just site specific. You design the site specific solution. Just don't go for planting project, planting project. You just go to the site, which area you wanted. Even if let it be 1 hectare, doesn't matter. If you can create 1 hectare of functional mangrove, then that matters a lot. So instead of telling 100 hectares will be planted, 200 hectares will be planted, just go have a prior baseline study. What is the problem that, as I was telling you, like when we were selecting in Myanmar, that it was a problem, that agriculture was a problem. Like in Bismi, in Perundotam, in Tamil Nadu, what I was telling is salinity intrusion was a problem. So agriculture is no more a possibility. So we wanted to incorporate mangroves, and because the mangroves were incorporated just to take out all the said the what is that the nutrients which is in the water, the effluent. From the effluent, we wanted to remove the effluent nutrients. So we incorporated this mangrove. So it actually took out, because this mangroves doesn't have any other water flow except the effluent. So it was using the effluent nutrients and letting out clean water into the canal, into the sea, the outlet canal. So that was our major success there. So still it is operating because of that only, because the entire mangroves which is been planted in the outlet canals and all those things. I can also send you some of the links probably. I think I have sent you earlier. Probably I can also copy paste it here in this chat box. You can see the real system, how it is working, because this mangroves is taking only nutrients from the aquaculture effluent. So the thing is totally clear. The effluent, when it is going out into the ocean, because we are taking water from the ocean, so we cannot pollute the thing. So we are cleaning the water and sending, and we are taking the same water for the last 31 years. So
That's
similarly, you
beautiful.
have to decide the problem and decide starter based on that problem solution you need to find out, rather than just planting.
Absolutely. I would like to ask one more question, ma'am, because we
Yes,
have
please.
so many students.
Yes, please.
Whenever a student is planning, like you planned your PhD, even in that time, it was such a visionary PhD. You were having so much clarity about those things, or what you wanted to achieve. So, aim or objectives a PhD student or a person who is entering into the masters and is interested into the mangrove restoration program, what objectives they should include or what study they should include into their area, so that the PhD doesn't remain just as a research, but it can be inculcated into the policies?
Ecosystem functioning. They should learn the ecosystem functions. If they understand the ecosystem function, everything is set right. Observation. We need to observe the hydrology, how the system works, how the zonation works, what species is coming in where, and what species is providing what service, and all those things you need to observe. Observation and ecosystem functioning, understanding of the ecosystem functions help you to easily find out a solution.
Yes, actually. Thank you, ma'am. So, do you think, ma'am, that mangrove restoration should be considered as a part of climate infrastructure rather than environmental program? This is just my thoughts I'm putting as
Yeah, it
an
is a climate. It is a climate. It can be included in the climate program. Of course, it is a climate program. It's a good component of a climate program.
All
Yeah.
right, ma'am. Yes, Jayant sir want to ask. Sir, over to you, sir.
Actually, I wanted to ask, but I was just wanted to thank you for the couple of points that you raised. One is like you said that it should not be considered like a carbon credit program, merely a
Yeah.
carbon credit. It supports large number of diversity and ecosystem functions. So because the here wherever for the industry, whenever they are interested in doing mangrove afforestation, mangrove plantation, the carbon is major thing in their mind. And in Gujarat, particularly Gulf of Khambat, you know that the mangroves are so stunted. Their carbon credit is not that much compared to Sundarban or the mature forest of mangrove. So that raising that point. Second thing, you said we should aim to conserve the mangrove rather than go for plantation. Yes, that is also a very important thing. Particularly, okay, there are some part of the coast where you can plant mangroves and there are like potential, but in like a coastal area of Bhavnagar, south of your Shetruji, you must have seen that Saurashtra coast, some part of there are muddy, rocky coast are there. And they are going for plantations of, asking to plant mangroves in there. So fishermen are opposing, plus those areas are like waterfall, the birds, migratory birds route side. So once mangroves will be there, the habitat also get disturbed. So I think this is very important point that everywhere you should not go for mangrove plantation. And if at all you are going somewhere, it's not just carbon credit, the more important ecosystem functions which need to be considered. So I really thank you for that. It's a very good presentation. COP31 very well addressed. And you address case studies of various countries. Those are very interesting. Like some countries can go for a higher investment, high investment in mangrove conservation. I think Vietnam you showed that the big wall were constructed for the mangrove protection. So I think all countries cannot afford that because uh, there are other ways. I think so. I really congratulate for those all case studies. It helped me particularly, even personally. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to add it up to your comment. It's like in the Gujarat context, basically, rather than going for planting mangroves, we would actually concentrate on the coastal trees, saline tolerant trees like Salvadora, some other like Pongamia, like wood, that ficus, and all those things, whichever is possible. We have to go for the carbon
What is
credit.
what is
Carbon
your
credit,
opinion about conocarpus in coastal area?
Conocarpus? No
In
idea.
coastal area, it's also a mangrove associate.
Here, is it there?
Yeah, it is not in the coastal area, but people are planting it in urban areas. But
Oh,
we think it should be there in the coastal area. That's our opinion. I
okay.
mean,
I haven't seen those in, even when I was in Gujarat coast. I didn't notice probably.
yeah, it is a
Anyway,
recent phenomena. They have gone for plantation of conocarpus, particularly the Bhal
okay.
area, north of Bhavnagar.
Okay, okay. I haven't been there, yeah. But
So
actually,
it
this
has,
Salvadora would be a best bet because it also
yeah,
provides
Salvadora
you
would be a
fodder,
bit.
fuel, and
I think
everything it
Kutch is doing very
addresses.
good in Salvadora. Kutch is
And
doing
it
very good.
exactly. And also, basically, you can earn more carbon credits in that rather than thinking about sitting and looking for the standard
Mangrove.
mangroves, because our land is not conducive for that, because our weather is very high, the salty temperature, high salinity. So you cannot expect that carbon credit from the mangroves. Instead, we can go for the in forest inside the land, inland forest, and also the coastal forest probably should be concentrated for that. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. I just wanted to ask one more question. Are there
Yeah.
any specific courses available, or rather specialized courses available which students can take and develop the whole, understanding of how a mangrove restoration works, so that
Yeah.
after, yes. So
Yeah,
can you just
there are several agencies working and the international organizations providing some courses. Yeah, just if I come across, I'll just forward it to you.
Yes, ma'am. I would request that so that we can
Yeah,
put it into our newsletter and it
yeah,
can be
yeah.
circulated to the students who are interested into
Mm.
the mangrove restoration paths.
Yeah, sure, please. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions? If
On
not,
left.
then I will again request
I
Jayant
have
sir.
no more, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, I have no question, but you are given challenge. We have been to 26 countries. We have to cross that one now in future.
I will be, because now I'm going to March. By the time I'm going, I'll be going to the US and the Japan while coming. So now I will be reaching 26, 27, 28.
Ma'am, we are increasing our target. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Kiranji.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Jayendra sir, you can please present word of thanks so that we can officially close today's webinar.
I think I already thanked her a lot for giving so many important points. So thanks, Dr. Oswin, for being with us for this evening and talking about mangroves. That was very useful, and there are so many points you raised were very critical, and for mangrove conservators particularly, and those who wants to work in the future for mangroves, mangrove ecosystems. I also thanks Dr. Sonia for being coordinating this important webinar, and I thanks all participants who were waiting. We had some technical issues in earlier, so they were waiting in the lobby and they waited for this thing. I think thanks to them also. Thanks for attending. We'll be keep on doing this work. Every month we'll try to get an expert and interact with you. And I think I invite Dr. Stanley to join sometime for some of the webinars. We'll keep on sharing our webinar themes. So you can join us and share your views as well. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, big thanks to all the participants who join us every month. Thank you, sir. Thank you, an expert speaker, our Dr. Chandra Lakmapurkar. And thank you to each and everyone who choose to learn today, invest in the knowledge. You could have chosen to do anything at this time of the day. So big thanks to all of you also. And the recordings of this will be available on our YouTube channel. It will be again shared with you. Certificates will be provided by our team, those who have attended the webinar till the end. So don't worry, whomsoever is asking about the certificate. Dr. Oswin has already shared the email address into the chat box. You can contact her to take her knowledge, to take about her expertise and gain the insights and the knowledge. So we thank once again on behalf of GES, and we will be closing the webinar now. Thank you so much.
I will also add the YouTube link of Tamil Nadu, this thing. Wait just a minute. I'll just add those things into it.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, if you don't mind, ma'am, can we
Yes,
have
ma'am.
group photo with you?
Yeah, why not? My pleasure.
Webcam. Yes, thank you.
Here I am.
I request everyone, please open the cameras so that we can take a group photograph. So it's really a privilege for us also to have the international speakers with us.
I have shared the YouTube links.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Taken?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Everyone can log off because we have officially closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stop the recording. Yes.
Once again, thank you, Sonia ji.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining.